All right. Well, welcome to our quarantine Cincy group training number 6. And this is such a fun, exciting one for sure, because we are just getting stronger every single time we meet. But this is our last one of the month. And we have a guest speaker that I am so crazy in love with and excited that she is here to chat with all of us. And so we'll get to all of that in just a bit. I just want to tell you guys that you're blowing my freaking minds. The numbers are, some of you guys are celebrating better PRV than you have since you started Cincy. Like in one single month, you're setting records for yourself. In CrossFit, we call it PR. Your personal record. You are setting these huge milestones. You're hitting them, you're crushing them, and then you're even moving beyond. Honestly, these numbers are rivaling what we normally do in the fall. Think October, think November. It's super exciting, and we're not finished yet. So today's the 29th. How many days are there in the month? Yeah. So tomorrow's the end of the month. It's just so exciting. And I'm proud of you guys. I really want you to think back and reflect on what you've done differently this month than maybe what you've done previously in other Aprils and other springs. Just have fun with it and really use this as a learning experience, and don't stop. Next month, next year, keep up the momentum, because we all know that everything that we're doing this month can be duplicated next month and the month after and the month after. Okay. Yeah. Somebody in the chat says, kind of not mad at this quarantine. Yeah, I agree. I think we're going to look back and we're going to be like, man, that was super exciting. And we won't remember all of the ouchy parts of quarantine life. So, I really want to just give you guys a few minutes to shout yourselves out. I really struggled with this part in my Cincy business, being afraid to brag on myself and being afraid of sounding obnoxious or conceited or arrogant or any of those words that describe a yucky person. But at the same time, it is healthy to be able to come to your peers, especially, and say, hey guys, look what I did, or you're not going to believe what I've done. So in the chat, I want you to shout out an accomplishment that you've made. And boy, you guys have a lot to celebrate. So let's take a moment. I'll read as many as fast as I can. Destiny just promoted to superstar consultant with her highest PRV ever, $4,500. Oh my gosh. That is so exciting. Amanda Smith, 2,000 PRV for the first time ever. It doesn't feel good, like to know you're getting that extra bonus coming in. There's not a better feeling. And I promise you, you're going to want to set this as your personal goal every month. Okay. Sabrina says she recruited her first team member and she will be promoting to lead. Oh my gosh. That is so exciting. I remember when I promoted to lead. Such a fun experience. Okay, I was set to cancel on May 1st, but you're not going to now. That is super. Kim Donnelly says she had her first 2,000 PRV month. Oh, wow. Kayla says she promoted to star consultant last night. Highest PRV month ever. Almost at $2,600. Got a new teammate and got my first lifetime 10,000. Oh my gosh, that's a lot to celebrate, girl. There should be cake involved. Maybe I'll cook a cake for you and I'll enjoy it in the name of Kayla. Yeah, I found some almond flour cake that makes me not, have all the yucky, I'm paleo now, so I have to watch everything, but I've gotten myself in trouble. I'll make a cake every single week and that never happened before. So anyway, okay. Julie says she finally got her sister-in-law to place an order with you. Oh my gosh, you go, girl. I'm so proud of you for celebrating those steps, those milestones that get you up the staircase. And I'm so proud of you for shouting yourself out. That's good. Beth says she spent a lot of time mentoring this month, and the numbers, girl. Yes, your team is on fire. It's so exciting. 3,000 PRV this month, Sandy. Oh my gosh. If you guys don't follow Sandy McCullough on social media, let me just put a plug in. The girl is straight like decor queen. Like, she's goals in so many ways. Find her, follow her. Just, oh my gosh. Yeah. Such amazingness. I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you, Sandy. That's super, super fantastic. Amy says she hit 2,000 this month and she's promoted to star. Oh my gosh. Okay. Allie became active today. Super. Kim. Let's see. Christina recruited a new team member. Awesome sauce. Made it to certified within your first 30 days. Now that is moving, Peggy. That's moving. I love it. Okay, gosh, I'm so afraid I'm going to miss these, but there are 50 new ones, and I'm never going to be able to read that fast. So you guys just keep shouting yourself out, and then bonus points if you shout out a team member, because you know what? In this life, it is all about what we do for someone else. And even though it feels really great to be able to get on Facebook, and you guys might have seen my post about my top 50 status and how hard I'm working to keep that, you know, it feels kind of good to be able to say, wow, my hard work is paying off. I'm really pushing, and here's the proof. And I did this milestone and I hit this milestone. That feels good. But you know what feels better to me is whenever I have the beautiful opportunity of shouting out someone underneath me that's kicking butt. Okay. So in the chat right now, I want you to switch gears and I want you to shout out someone underneath you that is just doing amazing things. Okay. This is the most exciting part of being a Scentsy leader. And I don't care if you have one person underneath you, you are a leader. This is the most exciting part, is to be able to brag on our hard work and downline. So yeah, oh my gosh, these are coming in and it just warms my heart. Like, I can get so emotional about this, you guys. Read these comments. Read these comments and let it inspire you to dream bigger and do more. It's just amazing. Yeah. Oh, amazing. Okay. So if I read too much, I'll get emotional. And so we all know what a train wreck I am when that happens. Okay. So it is time to start planning. No, it's well time. And you know, every Zoom we've been kind of pushing. We know that smart business owners, no matter what you sell or what you do, smart marketing business entrepreneurs, they're thinking ahead. And usually they're thinking ahead by 2 months to 3 months, okay? But I want you to go ahead and be in your May calendar and even your June calendar, and I need for you to be thinking ahead. I need you to think about, we talked and hit on some amazing ideas last week, so many ideas, and it was recorded, so go watch that. I don't want to spend too much time rehashing what we've already hit on, but you know, like, now is the time for you to really reevaluate what's working for you now and build upon it, because guys, it's kind of hard to make a new recipe out of last night's leftovers. Let that sink in. That's Laura talk, because I'm constantly hating having to think about what to cook. But it's really hard to make a new recipe out of last night's leftovers. You got to rebuild, honey. You can't ride this April wave into May and expect to have a rockin' paycheck in June. So reevaluate. Just imagine what you want your May to look like. There are so many fun opportunities. Did you know that today, I bet Terry knows this. I know that Terry knows this. I heard on the radio today that today is International Dance Day. Terry, did you know that? You did it? What the heck? Okay. So yeah, I heard that today. And then I just wondered, in my little marketing mind, I wondered, wow, what international days are coming in May that we can have fun and play upon and create flyers and create, just really spotlight different products based on whatever international, and I'm telling you, there are some crazy ones out there, but it could be fun. Jamie says in the comments that it's her birthday in May. That is one of my favorite things to do. I have a lot of fun. My birthday is December 9th. And so I have a lot of fun around my birthday. I do deals for $9. I'm not going to tell you what year I was born, but I really have fun with my customers. And I tell them, I'm like, well, to honor my 25th birthday, I am not 25, but to honor my 25th birthday, I want to tell you about all the things that you can get for under $25. And we have so much fun. And so, Jamie, that's an idea. Yeah, Amanda says it's her centiversary month. And so May is her 1 year. And so you can have so much fun with that. 12 months, so find $12 deals, or 12 deals for $12. I don't know. Just have fun. You've got to think like a business owner, and it's not really hard to jump on Pinterest and find all kinds of fun things. So just sit back and have fun. Okay, I'm seriously going to shut my mouth because we have the most awesome sauce girl on ever. Those of you that were on last Monday, she graciously invited us to tune in and be part of their amazing training. And so you heard a little bit of our story on how we met, and we are just so blessed in Cincy to be able to not just rub shoulders, but become lifelong friends with people that inspire us to our core. And guys, this is not just about Cincy. This is the fact that you can meet someone like I met Terry, and you can build upon their journey, and you can allow them to help you become better in every area of your life. In the areas of your life that you're not even thinking about making a paycheck in, like being a better mom, being a better wife, being a better human, being more fit. When I first met Terry, I had that much muscle mass, like zero. Maybe I was even negative, and Terry is just, she's so inspirational in everything she does. You're going to get to just fall in love with her in the next few moments. I want to tell you a little bit about her. So I asked her to send me some stats, which she uncomfortably did because I kind of forced her to. But I want to tell you a little bit about her so that when she speaks, you know that you're going to know it anyway, but I just need you to know that this lady walks the walk. And so anyway, Terry joined in September of 2008. Whoa, she's been through it, you guys. Does anybody know what was happening in 2008, September of 2008 in the US? Yeah, one of the biggest economical, what do you call that? Economy crash? I don't know. It was recession. Thank you, Kayla. See, I'm just absolutely brain dead without my amazing team feeding me the right words to say in the chat. Recession, yes. It was one of the worst recessions ever. Terry joined in that moment. Look at her today. She's at the top of Cincy, the top, superstar director, as high as you can go. Anyway, she's earned incentive trips. She's presented at Cincy events, corporate events. She's earned annual sales. She's been married for 28 years. Go wifey. She has 3 amazing kids. You guys, they're freaking beautiful. 3 kids. She has a college background in performing arts. She teaches dance, theater, and cheerleading. She's a part-time hairstylist, and she's just all around an amazing human. Terry, I'm going to turn the floor over to you because we are on pins and needles to learn from your amazing self. So take it away, sister.
Sweet. Oh my gosh. Let me put my glasses on because I can't see anymore. Okay. All right. Hi guys. Oh my gosh, Laura, you're so funny. I'm like hot when she's talking about me. I was getting sweaty. I can't. But thank you. And when we did talk earlier over Messenger, and I was laughing because she was saying, no, I want you to tell them who you are. I want you to talk about yourself. I'm going to intro you. But then we did agree that we feel like when we watch speakers, we want to know who they are, where are they coming from. It's not so much about their credibility. I'm guessing when we have a keynote speaker at convention, they are credible, of course, but I want to know who they are. How did they get there? Why did they become a public speaker? How did they grow up? Where did they grow up? So all those things kind of set like a foundation of how you're going to listen to somebody. So I do understand that, and I do agree with that. So I am going to tell you a little bit about myself as we move into this, but I want to say thank you to Laura for asking me, and you guys, I already know that Laura Godwin has an amazing team. We know that because she's an amazing girl, and you are as strong as your leadership. And she is special. I feel very blessed that God sat her next to me at Summit years ago because we just got each other. We clicked, and we have been friends ever since. And I hope that we do more things together in the future, Laura, because I just adore you. Okay, so I started with Sensi in 2008, and we were in a position where I had 3 little kids at home. I'm gonna tell you some personal stuff, and if you know me, you know that I don't say any of this to sound like I'm so cool or anything like that. It is literally just our life, and you have to know that when it's your life, it's not that big of a deal. We understand what other people think sometimes, but sometimes I hold back on saying some of this, even though it was my journey. I grew up in Southern California. I'm an only child. I have a big Italian family on one side and a big Irish French family on the other side. So lots of laughs and loudness and kisses on the mouth and all that. So I grew up with this big extended family, so I never really felt like an only child. I completely grew up down there all the way through into my 20s. Sadly, I lost my parents, both of my parents, before I was 25 years old, and not a lot of people know that. Just 2 different things, 7 years apart. Really a bummer, but I'm going to come back around to that. And the reason I'm telling you that is because when things like that happen to you young, I feel like it gives you perspective, and it sets your path of who you're going to be. Because my children now are adults, and they'll say, "Mommy, I don't know how you got through that. I don't know how you did that." And I said, I don't know that I consciously said this to myself at 18 or 25 years old, but you have 2 choices in life. Like, you come to a fork in the road, you guys, whether it's personal or in your business, and you can fold, or you can put your chin up and take it. I always say, I just put your chin up and take it in the chin and keep going, because what's the alternative? I would have just sat there and felt sorry for myself and used it as my thing my whole life for excuses and different things. I think because I was so young, I just kept moving forward, right? In that time, after my dad passed away, I met my husband, and what had happened in there, and I'll tell you another little quick story, because it is kind of interesting, because the old everything happens for a reason. So I was 18 years old when my dad passed away. And before my dad died, Laura, I don't think you've ever heard this story. I don't tell it that often. My dad said, hey, he was a golfer, and we had a country club by us, and he says, hey, honey, you got to remember, my dad's like an old Italian guy, right? He's like, hey, honey, you need to be one of those little Rams cheerleader gals, the Los Angeles Rams cheerleaders. I'm 18 years old. I looked about 14 years old. And he goes, you could do that. And I go, no, Daddy, no, no, they're tall. And I'm really short, by the way, if you've never met me. And so he goes, no, you can do that, honey. I'm a Sam Romeo up at the club. This was his other Italian friend up at the club. We're going to get the application and we're going to turn it in. And I'm like, okay, Daddy, go ahead. So I was acting at the time because I was in college and I was a theater major. So he goes, give me a picture. It's like, okay. I gave him this picture that like my composite, what we called a composite, right? And it was all these goofy like commercial pictures, like I'm washing a car, I got glasses on and I'm reading a book, and not glamorous at all. Like, I was ridiculous in these pictures. I was like, yeah, here, Daddy, put that one in. So him and Sam Romeo filled my application out. They sent it in. And I was like, whatever. They were going through an entertainment department change. They were taking resumes and pictures and making a cut through the mail before they called you to the big audition. Now, you guys, keep in mind, the Los Angeles Rams, I mean, the NFL, God, what? Stop it. I just got out of high school and they get like 1,000 people. So here's the part that I want you to keep a smile on your face because this isn't sad. It's interesting now I'm older and I look back. So like a few weeks passed, I forgot about it. My dad had a heart attack and passed away. So of course, devastating. Our whole family, devastating. So we go through the whole thing, and you know, we're on the tail end of all the things that happen right after someone passes away abruptly. And I get a letter in the mail, like 2 weeks after my dad died. Congratulations, you've been accepted into the semifinals of the Los Angeles Rams cheerleaders. And I was like, oh no, now I have to do it because are you kidding me? And I go to my mom and I go, Mom, now remember you guys, this is 1986. So I go, can I get a new leotard? And she goes, why do you need a new leotard? And I show her the letter. She starts crying and it became this, I was like, okay, Mommy, listen, it is a huge audition. You cannot go. Nobody can go. Don't tell the cousins. Don't tell anybody. I am going because this is what Daddy wanted. And see, sometimes I do kind of get a little choked up telling the story, but it's a story that I've told my team members and I've told my young people that I coach at the high school, because this is what happened, you guys. I went by myself, 18, fresh out of high school. I go. The place is packed. It was at Ram Park, which was their facility in Anaheim. It's packed. I mean, when I say packed, I mean like between 500 and 1,000 beautiful girls, women, not me, women. And I'm just looking around like, oh, this is a wash. No big deal. I'm going to go over here and stretch. I'm good. I'm not going to get past the first cut because it was just a herd. Well, long story short, I got through, right? And then we had an interview, and then we had the finals at Anaheim Stadium on select a seat day, which was the day where all the season ticket holders come. So it was packed. So in my little theater head, I thought, this is just a show. This is just a show. I'm just going to pretend. I'm just on stage. I'm on stage. So they only picked 14 new girls that year, 1986. Dang, I got it. But the moral of the story is that maybe my father's death motivated me to try, okay? So whatever makes you try, you try. What I always tell young people is I could have easily left that audition, saw all those people, I could have left. Nobody would have ever known I didn't try out and get cut. I could have said, oh, yeah, well, that was a big one. Didn't make it. What I did was a U-turn and I left, right? But I didn't do that. So who would have known? Only me. So then you get down to your conscience and your fire in your belly. Like, do you want to try this? Like suddenly I thought, well, what do I have to lose, right? Kind of like many of you thought when you started your Scentsy business, okay? So I went on to cheer for the Rams for 5 seasons, and I got the opportunity to go overseas 3 times, which in my big family, we would have never, that just wouldn't have happened. We would have never had the opportunity to go to London or Germany or Japan or wherever. And so in the process, towards the end of my NFL career, I met my husband, who was a second-round draft pick for the Los Angeles Rams. So that's how our life went. So I went from everything was theater. I'm going to be a movie star. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be a Rams cheerleader. I'm going to college at the same time, and blah, 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 blah. So I've always been a person with a lot of plates in the air. But all this was happening so fast. We got married. My mom got sick. Okay. So then that happened. So you kind of see where I'm going with this, you guys. I have this super blessed life. Yes. Horrible that I lost my parents at such a young age separately, and they were awesome, but it was another moment of choosing perseverance and choosing, I don't like to say toughness, but I like to say resilience, because I needed to move forward and I was pregnant with our first baby when my mom passed away. So I knew that I had to be right for the baby. I had to be okay. This is going to be okay. I got my mom and my dad. I'm good. I'm right here. I got this. No matter what your belief system is. it was not even a choice for me moving forward. So then the Rams moved to St. Louis. So Anthony and I and our little family, soon to be, we start moving. So Anthony actually only played for 3 teams in 12 years, but that was a lot of moving. Okay, so this was my life, and that was my badge. I didn't work outside of the house. I was pregnant or nursing or both for 5 years. My life was making a list and moving every 6 months for years. Okay, and then he retired, and we came to Oregon where he grew up. We decided to raise our kids here. So in this process, soon after that, without going into great detail with this, it's really hard on a lot of professional athletes after their career because they kind of lose self. It was their identity. My husband's very quiet. He's very modest and humble, which is what we love about him, of course. But that being said, when you're told your whole life, this is what you're good at, this is what you're good at, other people fail to tell them what else they're good at. So when they're done, sometimes they don't know what they're good at, even though they went to college and had this life in the NFL. So that's where we were when Sensi came in my life. And we were just dog paddling, trying to figure out what was going on, made a few, more than a few bad business decisions. And we were always very conservative with the money and our lifestyle. You would have never known. We weren't showy, flashy at all. That's not how we were raised. So here we were in this really weird spot. All the little peanut gallery thinks, oh, he played pro ball. They're rich. They're this. They're that. And that was so false. So how sad to have to keep that mask or that little veil. And I'm sitting here counting out change for diapers and gas. And it was tough. And it's not because we went bankrupt or anything like that, even though that is not the end of the world either. I know a lot of people who survive that. But my point is, everybody's got a story, guys. So my life looking back was way up here, and then, oh, that's the worst thing that could have happened. But then, oh my gosh, and then, oh, it happened again, and oh, and in my head, I kept thinking, how could I ever be mad or negative? I have 3 super healthy, perfect children. That's enough for me right there. My life is so blessed that I feel like when I talk about my Sensi journey, the reason I don't sweat the small stuff, as they say, is because of my background. So you guys all have a story. Everybody has a story, and everybody has what I call a season of life. And being a leader who is not 25 like Laura, I know that what my 20-something-year-old girls are doing around their Sensi business is not what my 30-something or my 40-somethings or my 15, 60s, right? So we have these seasons of life. So for me, I have this huge perspective, but I'm also a very, very hard worker. And I would credit that to the theater and dance because it's very strict. And you're always on a timeline, and we just work really hard always. So when Sensi came into my life, fast forward, because Anthony played until we were in our 30s. So those few years we were drowning, literally, just starting to kind of figure out how we were going to swing everything. And then Sensi came. And I loved it, of course, because all the moving in the NFL, we lived in rentals and apartments and what have you. And I was always looking for the best air freshening or candles, right? But I had little kids. And so when I found Sensi, I was like, oh, this is so great. This girl at my school had it. So I brought it home. My husband's like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's so good. That's so good. And then she wanted me to join. Long story short, I was like, it's not a good time. I mean, we didn't have a pot to piss on, as they say. And I was like, nope, I don't have $99 right now. And so I told her, I'll have a party for you. So I tell my husband, and he says, well, you should do it. It's like he was in La La Land. And I said, honey, we can't. it's not a good choice right now. I certainly cannot do anything else. I was coaching cheerleading and gymnastics and dance and everything to pay for my kids' lessons. I wasn't even getting paid. I was bartering everything, doing hair in my kitchen, trying to figure this out. And he goes, but it smells so good. That's what he said. And I remember at the time going, I know. Well, now what we know about fragrance and the science behind the psychology and all of it, he was kind of down. He was depressed. It was a hard time in his life at that time. And that Scentsy was making him feel better. And I remember I didn't really put that together at the time, but I said, well, do you really like it? And he goes, can we do it? Can we? And I was like, okay. So I have this party and I felt bad for my friend because I go, well, she goes, you really should do it. I go, well, let's split the party. So we split the party and I joined, however that happened in 2008, right? And so I became a consultant, and then everybody wanted it. Everybody wanted it. It was like, what in the heck? Everybody wanted it, and then everybody wanted to join. So I hit director in a year, hit star director in 2 years, hit superstar director in 3 years. Now, that is not always solid, sustainable, I'm so perfect getting paid a title all the time. But the fact of the matter is now I look back and I know that was about team growth. I know that was about sponsoring, because I didn't even think about PRV. One of my upline, probably Stacy Stanchu, Laura, said, you got to put 500 in. And I go, why? They were like, well, that's how you get your bonuses on your downline. You're just leaving money on the table. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I would always get to 500. And I kind of just didn't even know when I was promoting in the beginning and all of it. And then after I hit director, my husband says, so maybe you should be taking this a little more seriously. Maybe we should get the kids off your computer and you should, because we barely had a workstation back then, no training really. And the night I hit director, you guys, we had I don't know, a handful of videos maybe, Laura, on that training station for a while. One was Orville's Arrows Out. And I was like this, who is this man? I knew he was our owner, but I was like, what is he saying right now? And something came over me, how lucky to have a boss or somebody who is the head of the ship with that heart, who wants us to give more than we take, and that we should be pointing it out. And it, for some reason, for me, it changed everything. So when I talk about seasons of life, you guys, I was looking up, let me see if I can close this. I was looking up seasons of life, right? And I wanted to see what it said on the internet. So let's see. I found this little quote by a guy named Steve Sutherland. I think he's a politician. Anyway, it was on some website, and it says, I believe in process. I believe in 4 seasons. I believe that winter's tough, but spring is coming. I believe that there's a growing season, and I think that you realize that in life, you grow. You get better. So seasons of life, you guys, if you think about that, just like the earth experiences, spring, then summer, fall, then finally winter, your own life cycle has its seasons too. Does that make sense? So for me, when people say I'm too busy, or I can't, or I have little kids, or I have this, or I have that, I'm like, okay, I really concentrate on what season of life they're in, and I help my team members design how Scentsy is going to work around their life. And when someone tells me a story, maybe too much of a story like I told you guys, but it gives me a foundation of where they're coming from. Is this a person who has had hard knocks? Is this a person who grew up with nothing or too much or in between? Is this a person who has a hard time at her house with her marriage? Does this person have support outside of her house? All those things matter, you guys. So when you talk about someone's background, when you ask questions to your team members or someone who's thinking about joining, that's like your foundation. You know where you're starting. You know where you started. You know where theirs started. So from there, your path is uniquely yours. And that's where particularly females have a hard time not comparing themselves to other people. And you have to really know that your path is your path, and your seasons of Scentsy and your personal life, they're all good and they all matter. And you may not know why they matter right now, but you will in the future. You have to be patient with this time in your life. Like, you have a nursing baby, and every time you start something, they want to feed, or they wake up, or whatever. You're still working a 9 to 5 job that you don't love, and it's getting in the way of your Scentsy love and fun. But this too will rotate. This will change. You have to be patient. Know that wherever you're at, you are. Like, that is where you're supposed to be right now. And moving forward, that can change. And when you think about seasons of life, like all of it, think about when you're born, and then you're just a blank slate. You're just a blank canvas to learn, and some of the paint strokes on that canvas are going to be good and productive, and some maybe are painful, and you wish you didn't have that stroke of paint on your life canvas, but it makes you what you are today. You guys, don't forget that. You know, when you're little, gosh, I would say things change around middle school, but I'd have to say, just my observation from teaching young people fine arts is that when I taught fine arts to elementary and junior high kids, I could tell them to do anything. You know, wear this costume. I want your hair to look like this. Pick your nose on stage. La la la. They would do anything. They did not care. And then you get to high school, and sometimes they have a little ownership to it, and it's different. But somewhere after that, we as adults talk ourselves out of our own greatness. Like, we have so much to offer, and it's not like you're unhappy, or, you know, there's plenty of people that are feeling just fine. I feel really good. We were just talking about this on another Zoom call, that you feel good in your business. And so sometimes you just are too comfortable, right? So you stop asking people to join your team. You stop putting yourself out there because that feels a little crunchy, and I'm good. You know, I make my couple $100s a month. I'm super happy with that, and that's good for the money, for the time and effort I put in, right? But what if you, like I tell my team, rattled your cage? What if you just rattled your cage, and you're like, hey, and then you're like, oh, and then suddenly you try something new, right? You try something new, because we all know that when you try something new, change causes growth, discomfort causes growth. So that's why I always talk about rattling your cage. Keep your eyes open, even if you're happy and content personally and professionally, because the way, and Laura can speak to this too, the way we ran our Scentsy business in the beginning was fine. That was our season of life. I mean, her little guy was he was little when you started, and it's like, the way you run your business then is not how you run it now. A lot of that is because of all the education we've gotten and all the different people we have met in Scentsy. So when I was reading some of this stuff online, you have to remember that dips are necessary. I am not a business major. No, that was not me. I am so right-brained. But I do have friends that have their degrees in business and marketing, and they will say that it's called a business cycle. And that is so true. So you have to understand that Scentsy will go through business cycles, you know, dip, valley, peak, valley, peak. You will go through those cycles. What separates you from the next guy? Perseverance, not quitting. Stick your chin up. You've got this. You can keep going. When you are self-employed, especially in direct sales or sales in general, any kind of commission situation, you're going to make more money sometimes than other times, but it's about not quitting. I have a lot of girls on my team that have been on my team for over 8 years. And you know what? They're okay sitting at certified consultant. And of course, they're at everything. They listen to me, they train, they do all the things, but they're not ready, or they may never be ready to rattle their cage. And I, of course, as Laura does, we see the potential in you guys, because just knowing the kind of person Laura is, and she knows this about me, we find so much more joy in inspiring you guys and watching your success. What happens, you guys, my kids, whenever they were kind of cranky or in a mood when they were teenagers, I would know in my head it was time to service. It was time to give back. It was time to take the focus off self and push it onto something else. So that's why you will see sometimes people do well in their Scentsy business. Then when they start recruiting and they have team members and they find themselves focusing on their team members and the growth of their team, they suddenly are like, oh my gosh, I'm hitting my goals. Maybe because I am not so hyper focused on poor me, I do this and I do that, nothing happens. We all do it. It's human nature. But you know what? If you take the focus off self and you put it onto another energy, you will see results. Now, for me, I can also say that since he came into my life after 40 years old, now you probably know how old I am. Anyway, whatever. So after 40 years old, you don't think you're going to make like 300 more friends. And it was like, oh my gosh, sometimes I look at my Scentsy life and I think, who would have thought? This is crazy. I will be friends with Laura forever. I already know that. I will be friends with her forever. No matter what way we go, we will be friends forever. There are people in my Scentsy life that I will always know. And that was big to me, because here's going back to seasons of life. So here I am in my 20s. Woohoo! NFL cheerleader, right? And then I'm married a football player. And then we travel and we do this and we're having our family and everything's hoo-ha-ha. Then we come back to here and we're like, oh no, we're 35 years old. We don't even know how to get health insurance. Like, what are we doing? I'm just being transparent, you guys. I don't care. I'm too old to care, right? So that happened. So then when Scentsy comes along, I'm thinking, I can't do this. I can't do this. And this little voice in my head said, why can't you? You have spoken in front of hundreds of people. You have performed in front of audiences and audiences. Like, even if you don't have that background, like, what were you good at in high school or college? Like, what were you good at when you were younger and more fearless? So maybe it happened kind of by mistake, because I didn't really plan on this being a career, but it certainly is. I suddenly got that feeling from people like you guys coming up to me after a presentation, and it felt like it feels to me when young children come to me and say, Miss Terry, thank you for being my teacher. I wrote that quote down and it's on my wall in my dorm. Now, when kids do that, you're just like, oh, my heart, this is why I do this. Well, then it was happening with Scentsy. And I thought, I can do this. I can inspire adults. I have a spot here. I may not be the best salesperson. I may not know what the heck I'm doing right now, but I'm going to figure it out. And I can do this. I can help other people feel what I'm feeling. And that's when I knew my platform at Scentsy. To this day, I'm not going to say I get good sales, but I can talk a good game, and I'm an elaborate speaker, we should say, decorative. But that being said, that's not where my heart is in Scentsy. My heart in Scentsy, and I know I'm speaking for Laura too, is in the coaching, the teaching, and the inspiration. And that's why she gets emotional when she talks about you guys, because that's true. That's real stuff. That's real talk. Like, that's really how we feel. So for me, it unlocked something I hadn't felt in years. And I was like, my husband loves me. My kids appreciate me. To this day, I have very, very grateful family. Like, I'm not a mommy that ever felt super taken for granted or anything. but it unlocked something different. And then from there, you move forward and you have this different confidence, okay? And Laura touched on this, and it's funny, Laura, it's in my notes. Confidence and arrogance are two different things, you guys, and just don't ever confuse the two. You must be confident, male, female, you must know who you are and what you're good at and what you have to offer matters, because arrogance is completely different and you can smell it a mile away. That's different. At Scentsy, our culture is authentic, and that sticks. Since the beginning, our 3 core values stick. They're so important. So just know that when you are my biggest thing I could say for you guys with the sponsoring, because I just think that this is super important right now. I feel like my team, just like yours, is doing so well right now. Why? Because everybody was forced to be creative. Everybody was forced to think out of the box, rattle their cage, and figure out what you're going to do. Like, I don't do big events. I do home parties and basket parties. My business was built on basket parties. Well, that's not really happening right now. So I've had to rearrange things, right? So you make a different move on the chess table. And when you do that, you're going to see that personal growth. So now, since we're not in front of people, how are we sponsoring? It's kind of hard. It's a little tricky. So the sponsoring, I believe, from what Laura and I have been seeing with our other superstar director friends, is what needs to happen is these creative ideas. We need to figure out, however you're getting your PRV, how can I connect that to offering the opportunity to somebody? So for me, and I know that we say this all the time, but you guys, I didn't do it. Every time somebody hosts, you offer them the Hostess Essential Starter Kit. What's the worst that's going to happen? No, right? But if you tell them how much commission they're going to make and what the possibility is, because their party was over 500 and they could get shooting star, and now did you know that you're going to make commission on this and that you could have all this Scentsy stuff? You never know what's going to spark somebody. One of the best things I've heard during the pandemic in our business is, don't assume that it's your job to know where people want to spend their money right now. Yeah, I think we've all learned that one, because I am amazed at the buy-in of Scentsy right now. So that being said, when you're thinking of how you've been getting your PRV, I want you guys to really think about, who could you offer this to? And maybe you have a couple Scentsy lovers that you know it's just not in their budget. And if you put an accumulative party together, as we do, offer them the rewards. You're not flipping the party. That's not theirs. That's yours. Those are your customers. But when you have those rewards and you want to offer those, sometimes that's a way to dip your toe in the pool without jumping in. Does that make sense? Like, you don't have to feel like you're like, hey, you should join my team. Like, it's harder sometimes when you've been around as long as Laura and I, because people assume, oh, but you've been doing it forever. Oh, but you got in early. They have no idea what our model looks like, and that anybody can be successful at any time when they come in, right? So I want you guys to try and set yourself a goal of, every time you're getting ready to close a party, $200 or more, I want you to think about, if it's got a host on it, offering that host the rewards to join, and just telling them it is, Callie Petticord calls it the gold standard side gig. Because think of all the people with side gigs. This is a huge millennial thing too, like Uber, right? Or whatever they're doing on the side, a lot of them can't do it right now. So Scentsy is waiting for them. So don't assume somebody doesn't want to hear about the opportunity. I got to be honest, that's one of the hardest things for me to do, because I just told you I'm a much better coach. I don't like saying, hey, if you like this, you'll like this. Like, it's okay. And they expect it. But you have to remember what a lot of people say in Scentsy. If you go to Starbucks and they ask you if you want an extra shot and you say, no, thank you, she is not going to burst into tears and quit because you didn't take the extra shot of espresso. It's her job to ask you. It's also her job to say, okay, thought I'd ask if you say no. So that's all right. Okay, so I did a little acronym, okay? And it's with the word season. And you can write these down if you want. I wouldn't say it is, stellar. It's just a little fun thing, okay? So if you write the word season, I have S, stay consistent. And that is probably the number one thing, especially if you want to get to a leadership title or higher, you need to stay consistent. So, I say pick your poison and go with it. It's kind of like your children, like any of you that are mommies, like it's not how you discipline or what your schedule is. It's do you stick to it, or are you all over the place? Because then it doesn't work. So be consistent. Okay, stay consistent is the S. E, enough. You are enough. I know we hear that a lot, but remember, be comfortable where you're at right now. Be comfortable and know that you're supposed to be right where you're at right now, and be patient because it always changes. A, always keep learning. Okay, here's another thing I've said in many, since you know all my stories and pretty much my life now. My husband is a big believer in fundamentals, right? So we hear sponsoring, customer service, self-care. We hear the same things in Scentsy. Those are our 4 chords. Those are our fundamentals. They're so important, you guys. You can't hear them enough, because when Laura tells you something and then I tell you the same thing but differently, you're hearing it different, right? So my husband always said he did the same defensive back drills in the NFL that he did in 3rd grade. And people always say, what? And he's like, no, this is the technique of my position. I have been practicing it since 3rd grade. So when you're in the NFL, he doesn't have to worry about how he's backpedaling. It's second nature. That's why you can never learn enough. Don't ever think your ceiling is done. You have to have a high ceiling. Okay. The second S, smile. Smile, because if you take yourself too seriously in this business, it'll be really hard to stick your chin up and take it when it's hard. All right, just smile. There's worse things. We work at a very happy company. You don't ever have to be sad. You have too many people that love you in Scentsy that want you to succeed. Oh, optimistic. Kind of goes with smile. Be optimistic. Positivity will always win, you guys. And that is not candy coating it like, oh God, she's like Mary Poppins. Is she happy all the time? Why does she smile so much? I get it. I get it. And yes, I do smile that much. I just have a lot of teeth. It just looks like that. But honestly, be optimistic, because there's always somebody else who has it worse. Just tomorrow's another day. And the last one, the letter N, never quit. They all kind of tie together. You guys, our business will go in cycles, like I said. You will have your times, and you just have to know you can do it. You are uniquely you, and there's customers for everybody, and there's team members for everybody. Your personality, however you picture yourself, will be a magnet to your people. You will have your people. You will have your tribe of people that were a magnet to you, because your personality is what they were looking for, not hers, not his, yours. Okay? So I want you to really take on that challenge of trying to ask all your hosts if they want to join, or gifting accumulative orders hostess rewards to somebody that you care about, that you know really loves Scentsy, but just has never been able to gather the money together, that you would like to bless. Okay? And I think that's it, you guys, unless you have questions for me. I'm sorry I just went on and on and on. I can't hear you, Laura.
We loved it. We loved it. Oh my gosh. If you could just see the chat blowing up right now and through the whole thing, and even my phone, I'm getting text messages.
Aww.
Yeah, you're just such a blessing. I know that,
Gosh.
but you've changed lives, and I adore you for being real.
You're so sweet.
I'm gonna get upset, but
that was a lot of real.
and for just giving it to us like a big sister, and that's huge, and not candy coating it, but just telling us like it is, and you're the real deal. And I love you so much. There was so many nuggets of truth and just things that have impacted me. And I want to say just one thing that oh my gosh, I want to say so many things, but I'm going to keep it quick. I really feel like that some things that you touched on, the growth aspect of, you weren't content with where you had been. You were always reaching to improve yourself and to get through the next milestone, and always looking ahead. And one of the things I feel like that we're using those fundamentals, as your husband says, but we're using those fundamentals, and we're able to pass them on to the people that are coming up behind us and under us. And I just feel like that you're such a beautiful soul, because it would be such a disgrace if, all of the amazing wealth and wisdom that you have, and the wealth of information that you've gone through and accumulated in your soul, every training you've attended, every Orville speech that you've listened to, that some of us that are looking at you, we might not have heard that one, but yet we're able to listen to you. And because you've been so generous with your time and sharing, and I just feel like that we all have a responsibility to take in as much, the wealth of knowledge, to take in just as much as we can, because we never know when we're going to need it in another season of life. But we also have such responsibility for those coming up under us. We can play such a big part in their journey, as you have played in all of ours. And so, what a blessing.
You're so sweet, Laura. Thank you so much. And honestly, you guys, another thing we say in our house all the time is you can't replace experience. So your life experience, your path is yours, and it will be so meaningful to so many people, and some that you haven't even met yet, and it is important. It is important to just know that that's yours, and you have that to share, like Laura said.
It's beautiful. I love it so much. So I want to open the floor up to some questions. I will put Terry on the spot, of course, because we are soaking up every ounce of knowledge. Yeah, I know you've got it, sister. I know. So if you have a question for Terry, drop it in the comments. I'll read it to her, or she can read it. And we want to just fill your cup. Man, my cup is overflowing right now, but so fun. These are just good. I love the theme of tonight. The spirit of tonight is it's wholesome. It's different than some of our previous trainings during quarantine, but it's so needed. They're loving your organization behind you, right?
Oh God, you guys, let me tell you, I should have started with that. We've had our house like on the market for a year, because then we had to take it off, and then the pandemic. So my stuff is such a hodgepodge. It just kills me. I can't wait to have like a regular space. I don't care how small it is. It just needs to be like, this is the toss all room. There's this, my kids' pictures were on those shelves, but yeah, I got a tripod, random warmer, and then I do have my bar grid. I think I put it there because it made me look better.
I love it so much. I love it. So, and those are tea stands, right? What are those stands called that the grid wall sits on?
Me and Anthony found these online years ago, and the reason I just have this little narrow one, and it has wheels at the bottom, you guys, and it's just, yeah, it is like a T. It's like the grid, a two-sided grid with arms,
Yeah.
and it's got T legs and wheels because I have a little, like a deep closet right across from this den. And so I roll it in there. And that's kind of, I don't keep a lot of inventory, but I do keep bars. I try to keep bars. And so it's really convenient because then when I have like an open house at my house, I just roll the grid out into the entryway of my house. And then I don't really ever open my whole house up. I kind of set up in the entryway because I kind of have a big entryway.
I
So
love
that's how it was born.
I love it. That is so fun. I love the idea of having the wheels on it. I have T hook grid walls, but no wheels.
Yeah, yes.
Cool. Okay, so Philip has a question for you. Let me see, Philip. Okay, you're unmuted. No, maybe you'll have to write it out. I can't unmute you. You want to write it out, Philip? Something's wrong, and I can't
Oh,
unmute you.
yeah, I got it.
Okay,
Um,
question.
I typed it out already, but after all your years in Cincy, what do you find is still like a major obstacle that you face personally?
I have to say, after you're in a leadership position, sometimes it's hard when you feel like you've really given a lot of self and you feel like you're doing your very best. And you realize when your team gets to a certain size too, that not everybody has the same work ethic.
Uh-oh.
Yep.
I think she's muted. Hold on. Terry, unmute yourself. Hold on. Okay, I got you, sister.
Okay, are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm so sorry.
And yeah, no, you're fine. We heard all the way until your team gets to a certain size.
Yes. Okay. So when your team gets to a certain size and you're working hard and you're trying really hard to be the mentor that you strive to be, you will realize sometimes, you guys, that not everybody has the same work ethic. And again, it goes back to comparing. We always talk about ourselves, comparing ourselves to the next shiny object, or what about that company, or what about her? I wish my flyers look like his, and blah, 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 blah. But also it goes down also as a leader. You can't compare your team members to you. Independent contractors, that's what we are. We are independent consultants. So sometimes when I want to get disappointed, that I feel like I give them everything on a silver platter, I'm trying to help them help themselves, you will realize not everybody is on the same speed as you, and they are not the same track, and they are also not always in the same work ethic lane, and it's okay. That's why, here's the next part that's a hiccup, Philip, is that the recruiting. Every time I start to feel sorry for myself, I'm like, Terry, it's your fault. You need to recruit, because if you have a continuous recruiting flow, you guys, just think of it like Las Vegas. What are the odds, right? You might recruit 10 people and one of them wants Scentsy like you want Scentsy, or they see the light that you see. So you have to continuously keep recruiting. So answer to your question, if I was going to say my biggest speed bump for me is remembering to offer that opportunity and to continue to recruit, because sometimes people have success and then they want to just chill out. And there's, you guys, that's why our company is so wonderful. Even if you're not a numbers person or a stats person, our model is made so that Laura and I are working just as hard as all of our team members, and then harder, because we want to be able to mentor you. And that's not the case in all direct sales companies. And that's what happens. Some people, Laura, you probably know some, there are people along the way in my almost 12 years that actually quit because they thought they were going to hit director and get to sit on the couch and eat chips and be done and just make money off of their people. Not only to me is that unethical, but that's not how we're put together. So we should be proud of our model. With that, you have to do all the things. You get your PRV, Scentsy, you're going to sell it. You guys, you're going to make your PRV sponsor. We have to recruit. You have to recruit. That's what, it's hard. We got to all do it.
Yep. It's the lifeblood for sure. Good question and great answer. Super. Okay. Let's take another question. I know it's after the hour, you guys. Thank you for being on. I know you're soaking
That's my
this up.
fault.
You're soaking this up. We all are soaking it up. It's such good stuff. Any other questions while we have the amazing Terry? Oh, Tara, did I see your question? Girl, hold on. Oh, if someone said that they wanted to join and we're going to do it, but then they didn't, and then they said they were going to again, how many times do you follow up with them?
Well, I think it also, again, I think that's an individual thing. I think you have to know who you're talking to. It also brings up another thing I'll say. I would always just tap back. I would tap back every month until they told me they didn't want to hear from me anymore. And if it was somebody that actually it was their idea in the first place, you don't have to feel bad about checking in. It's all about your delivery, right? If you sound like a poop, then you're going to come off like a poop. But if you say, hey, just checking in, hon, isn't it crazy and your family are doing good? I know you mentioned joining Sensi. I would love to talk to you about it. Let me know if it's a good time. If not, I will circle back with you. No one's going to get mad at a message like that. I was just, right when you said that, I was going to say something else. Dang it. I have such short-term, easily distracted artistic person that I am. I'll think about it. She was saying, read her question again. Maybe it'll come back.
Okay, hold on. It said, if someone said they wanted to join and were going to do it, then they didn't, and they said they were going to again, how many times do you follow up with them?
I can't remember what it was, you guys. I'll think about it.
I wanted to add one little thing to that, and I don't know that this is always the case, but there have been certain times in my little Cincy journey where when I've seen this happen, it's almost always been because there is a nagging obstacle of fear in their mind that they can't shake. And so after the second time, I usually will say, okay, in a perfect world, what would need to change to make you jump on this?
Perfect.
And they'll say what their hang up is. And a lot of time it's not money. Money was my hang up. Money was Terry's hang up. But a lot of times it's something totally different than that. And so once we understand, Terry, at the beginning of yours, you talked about asking questions to get to know where our team members are. And I really feel like that. Our best task is to get to know our team members before they ever even become that. And so I would encourage you, Tara, to just kind of like have that heart to heart with her and just say, I know I was super intimidated before I got before I started my Sensi journey. What's going on with you? Like what things are you fearful of? And make her feel really normal that she has, oh my gosh, everybody fights an inner demon that tells them they can't for whatever reason.
Right. And then you made me think of what I was forgetting. I don't know that it's that wonderful, but again, you guys, when you second guess yourself and you keep thinking maybe it's me, why do these people quit? Why won't they join? Whatever the scenario is, you have to also give yourself a little bit of a break. And if you know that person, just like Laura said, when you know somebody, whether already on your team or they're thinking about joining your team, you have to know what does their personal life look like? What's their track record? And I don't say that unkindly. I'm just saying that when someone always has an excuse for you, or they ghost you and then they're all over you, or whatever the case is, they're inconsistent, they leave, they get reinstated, they leave, they get reinstated. Look at their personal life. It is usually a mirror to what you're going to get or you have in them in their Sensi business, because that is their track record. That's their life experience. This is how they operate. And until they choose to rattle their cage, be consistent, and do things straight and stick to something for more than a minute, that's what you're getting. So don't be too hard on yourself. It has to be their timing, and then who are they?
Yeah. That's good. That's well said. I often say, man, if you're having to baby them and talk them into things in the beginning, then, oh Lord, you've set yourself up for a crazy journey. For sure. All right. Well, it is coming up on 9:15 for us Eastern Standard Time girls and guys. So I just want to say one more time, Terry, you're the boss, Queen Terry, and thank you so much for coming. I'm serious. Like, I know for sure that we're going to be looking back on our time with you tonight and be forever changed. Even if it's in the future, we can help someone else by saying, you know what? I was on a Zoom and I heard Terry speak, and let me tell you what like we can take these nuggets of wisdom and let it be a blessing to someone else. So I want to end with just, I want to highlight that challenge that Terry gave all of us. And I really, really want you guys to write it down and take it to heart and let May be your best sponsoring month ever. Many of you guys are celebrating your best PRV month in April. So let's set some more goals and let's take this stuff to heart. I also want to tell you that we're going to have a scavenger hunt, Cincy style, next week when we join together. And there was something else I was going to tell you. Shoot, I should have written it down. Let me see if I did. I didn't. I just have Terry notes. That's it. But, just be watching. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. One of you guys sparked something in my heart whenever you spoke on the chat and you said that you were preparing opportunity packets to mail out. And I really feel like that is sometimes the best way to follow up. I'm so shy at heart, and by nature, I want to run from any kind of conversation because I don't feel like that I'll say the right thing, or I actually feel like I'll say the wrong thing and they'll not want to join. So in my early days, 1,000% of my recruits, I truly believe, came because either one, they felt sorry for me, or they felt like, man, she's a jacked up hot mess. If she can do this, anybody can. No, but really though, honestly, I would try very hard to make sure that my words were on paper, and everything that I felt like I would mess up in a conversation, I would put in an opportunity packet, and I would put all of my verbiage down in a cute flyer and let the flyer do the talking for me. And here's what I found. I found that a lot of times that flyer was being passed around, and someone that I never even gave it to would join my team because, her granddaughter brought it to her house on spring break. And it's like, wow, your granddaughter wasn't ever going to join my team. It wasn't in the stars or whatever for her to join my team. God knew that whenever I put that opportunity packet together and gave it to that girl, God knew that she was going to take it to her grandmother, who knew that grandma needed to join my team. You know what I'm saying? So you can have one conversation and that's great. Or you can work on making some flyers, printing some things off, putting your story to paper. You guys get busy trying to do something that you've never done before. What's the saying? To get something you've never had, you have to do something you've never done. And so just have some fun with it. You can Google possibility packets, opportunity flyers. What are some other names for things like this? There's so many cute little words.
Possibility packets and all that stuff. Yeah.
Even like in the training center, you can find a wealth of knowledge there. In our team pages, you can on Facebook, on Pinterest.
And Laura, that little lady probably identified with you for some reason, right? And that's why I think it was a few years ago I got postcards made with Vista Print, and one side just gave my information. The other side was a picture of my family, picture of a bunch of us being crazy in a photo booth at SFR, and like a really inspirational quote, and my story, like we always tell you guys to put your picture and your story on your PWS.
Yes.
Somebody searching for a consultant might look at you and maybe you have your two sons in the picture and they go, oh, I have two boys, I'm going to join under her, like for whatever brought them to you, like that magnet you didn't even know you had.
Yeah.
That's what happens.
Yep. Mm-hmm. There's a science behind it. And if this helps, I started a 30-day yoga challenge last night, and there were a ton on YouTube. And why did I pick the girl that I picked? Because she had a dog in the picture. That sold me. I'm not paying for this now. It's totally free, but I'm just saying, you never know what's going to spark in someone's heart, but you got to put it out there. You have to do your job to put it out there. And so, yeah, take this time to really get creative, and let's use these sales, these strong sales that we have this month to enter our best recruiting month. Make May amazing. Okay. Well, I love you guys all. I'm going to work really hard to get this uploaded to YouTube so that we can pass it on to those friends of ours that were not able to be on with us live. Terry, once again.
Thanks, you guys. It was a pleasure. It was just a blessing. Thank you so much.
You bet. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.